and then I'm going to share. Can I see you? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you on I can see you on the YouTube already, but I cannot see myself.
Okay, let me check. I I can see you, can you see yourself?
No, I can just see you.
But I can see you. I can see you. So if you go on YouTube, try to check it on YouTube. Hi, everyone who's joining us on YouTube. I can see you.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe if
gonna.
I try to talk more, I think it's shifting from one screen to another. It's not showing the two of us.
I can see you. So we're both new. I'm very challenged with the YouTube, but I could see you.
Yeah,
Hold
what's
on.
happening right now is that whoever's speaking is projected on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. So if
So
the
I'm just gonna share this right now. I can see you. So we're both new. I'm very challenged. With the Okay, so I'm gonna go on. Just give me time. I'm just sharing it right now for both our audience.
okay, no problem.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Maya Santana Pilar, and I am the host for today's topic. And we are live right now on YouTube via Canadian Pageant Network. And my special guest for tonight is no other than the ever famous fashion icon, Bessie Bessana.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for having me, Miss Mias.
Okay, so Bessie, let's talk about you first. Maybe you would like to introduce yourself to the Canadian pageant world
Mm-hmm.
and the North American pageant world. Of course, everybody in the world who's watching our show for tonight.
All right, so I'm Bessie Bessana. I'm a fashion designer and I'm a Filipino and I'm based in the Philippines. Um, I've been doing fashion since I can remember, but I actually dove into the fashion industry as a fashion designer over 5 years ago. It was not my first career. My first career is actually civil as a civil engineer. That's what I finished in my university. But after some time, after doing about 9 years in the corporate world and being an OFW at some point, so I actually lived abroad, specifically in Hong Kong. I realized that my real passion is not in a corporate job or a corporate setting, but in fashion. And I've been very active in fashion and pageants. So I think it's very natural for me to progress into those fields. So in 2015, I came back to the Philippines and I enrolled in fashion school. And less than a year after that, I was able to open up my own atelier, which is the Bessie Bessana Atelier, which is based here in Quezon City. And since then, I've never turned back because I'm very fortunate that I was able to start my business and I was able to get some clientele, from my friends from the pageant world and from my friends from the university, which I actually attended De La Salle University here in Manila. And, 5 years down the road, I never regretted leaving my luxurious corporate job because now when people say that you find a job where you don't have to actually work but you just enjoy what you're doing. That's what I'm doing right now. So every day that I wake up, it's not like I'm very focused on like going to work, getting dressed and going to work. It's not like that anymore. Every time I wake up, I'm optimistic of what I'm gonna do, and I'm very excited of what I'm gonna do because it's my business. It's my interest. So that's very much basically what about me right now. And I've been very active in the pageant industry as well. I have been fielding girls in beauty pageants since I was 20 years old. So that was a very long time ago. Well, a friend of mine told me that she really wanted to try for Beanie, and that was in 2005, which she did, and she made it to the semifinals actually. And I never turned back. In 2005, I met a lot of friends in the pageant industry, and I became part of the found. I'm a founding member of Aces and Queens, which produced a lot of the successful beauty queens of the Philippines, including Pia, Megan, and Kylie, and I've been very active about that. I'm also part of the journey of Ann Collis, who was Miss Globe in 2015, and I was helping her out when she was flying to Canada for the pageant. And I've
Oh,
been very active, yeah, and I've been very active since. And at some point, when all of these achievements happened in 2017, I was offered a job to run the Miss World Philippines pageant, which I took on. So I was the general manager of Miss World Philippines from 2017 to 2018. And then after that, I realized that my business is getting bigger and bigger. So I decided to retire from that job and I just focus on my business. So right now, I'm a full time designer and I'm still very active in the pageant industry. Like I would get together with my friends from the pageant industry and I would still help out girls when they are, when somebody comes up to me and they're interested to be mentored for the pageants.
well, once pageantry is in your blood, Bessie, you can never stop. It's in you, you know? It's like for me, I said it so many times, like I'm done. I'm like, I this is my last year. And then following year I'm back. It's just it's very addictive. So
When
especially
when my friends heard that I'm resigning from my job in Miss World Philippines, I told them that I want to focus on my business, and I might not do pageants anymore. And then
Mhm.
one of my friends told me that you cannot do that, Bessie, because pageantry is in your DNA. When you were still young, you were already a pageant fan. You even applied for Beanie with your friends. So it will never happen. People knew that I'm a pageant person. And I enjoy it. It's something that it's not forced. Like I would really watch any pageant. I would watch even the Miss Barangay whatever pageant. I will get interested and will be happy watching it.
the Miss Barangays in the Philippines, it's very interesting and very entertaining. So, I remember one time when I was visiting in the Philippines, and yeah, they invited me to judge one of the barangay pageants. So it was outdoor, but it was very interesting because you could see a lot of drama from like their handlers who are in like the backstage, and you at the end of the show you could hear them like fighting because this girl should have won and everything. It was very dramatic. I love it.
A lot of the beauty queens actually start from the barangay pageants as well.
Yeah, but see, it's different in Canada and in the Philippines, because in the Philippines pageantry is so in demand that like the girls are chosen by the handlers, and like if you're not chosen by the handlers, it will be a tough journey for you to actually compete in the national pageant. So you would need those handlers to open doors for you in pageantry. Well, in Canada, it's very different because the girls have to apply themselves to be part of the pageant, and there's no handlers. We call them coaches, and they have to pay the coaches to prepare them for their journey to a regional or national pageant. So that's a big difference. And then we're we're really hoping that Canada would be like a Philippine pageantry style, because beauty queens deserve a lot of respect. And um, unfortunately, it's not the same status as how beauty queens get in the Philippines or in Latin America or some parts of Asia. But let's talk about first COVID-19, because I see a lot of news in the Philippines. It's showing here, and I'd like to know how you're dealing with COVID-19, Bessie.
Okay. So when this news actually erupted in China, I knew for a fact that it's gonna affect the whole world because you cannot really stop people from traveling. What breaks my heart is that the Philippine government was not able to detect this earlier. They even allow people flying in from Hubei province where the original coronavirus started. So it was very disappointing that it was not something that they were able to control. Whereas in Taiwan, which is very very close to China as well, which is just above the Philippines, they were right now they're normal. Like they don't have lockdown, they don't have a quarantine procedure because everything is okay. Like the infection rate there is very very low because the government was able to identify that they have to stop people flying in from China. Having said that, we started our lockdown actually last March 16, and everybody thought that it's gonna end on April 15. Now it's already April 26 or 25 in Canada, but we're not still free. We're still at our homes. So it's very disappointing that it took us a couple of and then it's already extended for another month. So technically the end of the quarantine right now in the Philippines is May 15. And right now, if you're gonna ask me what's happening outside, not a lot of people come out anymore because of the scare. And of course, in the beginning, it was a question like people didn't really know what to do, and then eventually we learned that we can actually go out with a quarantine pass given by the barangay. But eventually, specifically earlier last week, they told us already that even if you have the quarantine pass, you cannot go out anymore. You cannot even walk, like or maybe do a bit of running. You just really need to be inside your house. The only time that they will allow you to go out is if you're gonna go to buy something essential, like you're going to grocery or you're going to the market. So it's very strict now. Having said that, I think people are already immune because we've been doing this for about 38 days now. So I think people are already accepting the fact that we're just at home, but everybody's looking forward for May 15. And I am hoping that by the time we're able to control the virus here in the Philippines, and hopefully, at some point, it will have the vaccine to be able to support the people that are affected by the COVID. In
And I'm
terms of
so proud because actually I heard that um, one of the university laboratories, Ateneo de Manila University, found like the coconut virgin oil to be like a cure for coronavirus. So hopefully that will go forward and let the Philippines shine again in the medical field because Filipinos are so smart when it comes to these, like finding a lot of resolutions. And I just want to say because barangay, I have to translate it in English because for our Canadian viewers and English speaking viewers, barangay is it like a village or like a village, and each village has like a government that is responsible for that village. So it's very different from Canada or the United States, where the municipal government is the lowest government, which is the city government or town government. But in the Philippines, they have the village government and then the local government, which is the municipality, and then the provincial, and then the national. But
yes,
I want to give a big hands up to President Duterte because comparing to the infection rate of Canada and infection rate of the Philippines, Philippines is much smaller. I mean, you guys have a bigger population than Canada. I can say that, but our infection rate is so big and our death rate is in like also in the thousands. Not as bad as like United States or Italy or anything like that, but in the Philippines, you guys have a like in hundreds, not even.
no, right now we're at 6,000 plus. Actually, in Southeast Asia, amongst the 11 nations of Southeast Asia, we're the most infected, which is quite weird because we're an archipelago. So we're not really, we cannot be accessed through the land, which like unlike Cambodia or Thailand, where you can actually take a train from China or from nearby countries. So it's actually very disappointing for me. So if you have that point that you are actually a little bit happy about it, whereas from my perspective and point of view, I'm actually disappointed because we're an archipelago. So the only process and way for us to get the virus is for people to fly in. So
Wow.
very happy about that
At
though.
least it's 6,000 compared to 9,000, or even it's going to be in the 10,000 plus that's happening. And I just wish that we have that discipline that President Duterte would have made. And now you guys are opening the malls now, and I
Not
heard
yet.
that from the news. But on like some parts, right? Like they said that they will open the malls or
Right now, what's gonna happen is that by April 30, if you're not a high risk place anymore, which includes the whole of the Philippines except for a couple of provinces, then you are actually allowed to do a new normals, which they are still defining right now.
new
So
normal.
for the new normal, right now, the Metro Manila, including the nearby provinces, and then I know for a fact like Pangasinan and Benguet, because they have a lot of infection of the COVID, they're not allowed. They're also on enhanced community quarantine still. So it's not like all throughout the Philippines it's the same. Like a lot of the provinces, especially in the Visayas and the Mindanao area, are actually more. They're gonna be more free, but the Metro Manila, where the congestion of the people are still gonna be on an enhanced community quarantine until May 15th. And
Wow.
basically everything is closed except for groceries and drugstores.
How about fast foods and takeouts? None?
A lot of them are actually open right now, but they are mostly on takeout delivery. A lot of people use so here in the Philippines we have two major players in terms of the delivery system, which is Lala Move and Grab. So Grab is really more of a regional type of business. So basically what happened is that when Uber came to the Philippines, Grab bought Uber. So there's
Okay.
no Uber in Southeast Asia. It's actually Grab. And Grab is a Malaysian company. It's based in Malaysia, but it's operating here in Southeast Asia. And in the Philippines, it's the most popular mode of transportation for food. So if you want to order something, let's say from McDonald's, you can actually order from Grab. And aside from the fact that you can order from McDonald's, you can order from Grab. And
Because I
Grab
think
service,
McDonald's has its own delivery, right?
yes, they have their own delivery, but you can also order from Grab. And I think Grab is more convenient because from their app, you can actually have a lot of options already.
Okay. But like, can people go to the restaurants and get a takeout, or they have to call the delivery in order to do that?
They can actually do a takeout, but the measures right now are very high. Like you cannot even enter the restaurant. So there's like a table outside where you can transact with the restaurant. Because a lot of the restaurants started doing this because they're businesses, and without the income coming in from the people that are buying food, they will not have money to be able to pay rent and to pay their people, and they're still paying a lot of their staff, so that's why they're doing it. But from what I've been hearing from a lot of my friends, it's still a deficit from the income of these companies. I'm also a small business owner, and I've been affected with the hit as well because rents are still being paid without income coming in, and especially my business of fashion, it's very much dependent on events and functions. And right now all of those are canceled. So
That's
there's
true.
nobody, yeah, so nobody's asking us to make them a gown or a dress or a suit. So basically, we're very much hit with that, and hopefully, the good thing about the Philippines is that we're very much into our weddings. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope that after the quarantine, people are starting to apply for, or like prepare for their weddings, even if it's for next year. So I hope that 2021 will be better.
Well, I'm going to ask you, do you think by May 15th, everything will go back to normal?
No, for sure that's not gonna happen because as long as there's no vaccine and it's not widely spread or widely distributed, I don't think it's gonna ever go away, or we can go back to the normal way that we lived before. From my friend who's actually a frontliner in the Philippines, who's an expert in infectious diseases, he told me that they can feel that the you can feel a bit of normalcy around July. That's what they're thinking and forecasting. But I'm really hoping that the pharmaceutical companies, like in the states mostly, they'll be able to come up with a vaccine for this virus, because without the vaccine, people are gonna be scared. People are not gonna push through with a lot of things. So as soon as we can get the vaccine, the better for all of us.
Yeah, because which comes to like my main concern, especially a lot of the Filipinos are big pageant fans. And the Miss Universe Philippines and Bini Pilipinas were both scheduled in May. So, do you think it will happen in like anytime soon? What do you think?
Um, to be very honest with you, I have not. I actually know the organizers. Like Shamsi Supsup is a good friend. I also worked with Bini Pilipinas before, so I actually know the people within the organization. But right now, they have not said anything because I think it's also an unknown. So just like
Yes.
we're questioning what's gonna happen, they're also questioning what's gonna happen. But from what I think the problem that the organization is currently having is that there's already a list of contestants, and I think that's
Yes.
gonna be very hard for them because unlike, let's take Miss World Philippines for an example. I know for a fact that Miss World Philippines is scheduled in July to August this year, but uh they have not made a presentation, right? They have not elected contestants. So they can actually right now, they can actually pinpoint a candidate and just send that girl to Miss World if in case international pageants are allowed by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But for
So,
Binibini
claiming
Pilipinas,
someone, appointing someone to be
yeah.
Miss World Philippines. Mm-hmm.
But for Binibini Pilipinas and for Miss Universe Philippines, they have to be fair with the girls, right? Because
Yes.
the girls have already dedicated their time, their money, and their effort for the pageant. So I hope that they are able to make something out of it.
Okay.
I was telling my friend earlier that if it's not going to be a pageant, it could be like a very, very small closed door way of choosing the contestant of the winner from the pool of contestants, because that has been done. Like if you remember in 20, I think it's 2011, Ford Supermodel of the World, it was done in New York. It was actually a closed door election of the winner, where the winner
Okay.
was actually the Philippines.
Yes.
So, her name is Danica Magpantay, and she actually won. Like she won the international competition, but it was a closed door kind of
Event.
contest. So that's possible. But the bigger question would be, will there be a Miss Universe? Will there
Yes.
be a Miss World? I think that's the
Yeah.
bigger question.
But I hope that they don't follow Miss England, where they had like online pageant and the girls were like walking in a bikini in well, I didn't even know that Miss because I thought that Miss World doesn't have any more swimsuit competition, but
They
they
don't
were
have.
walking in bikini in the backyards of their homes and evening gowns. So I was like, that's really weird for a pageant, you know? Um, so I hope that Philippines won't do that because I'm sure a lot of Filipino fans will be so upset.
Yeah. So I agree with you with that. But the problem with an international pageant is that you have to fly a lot of girls. And right now flying is like like a luxury, right? It's not something
Yes.
that people will really do or work on. Like if I was Miss Italy or if I was a candidate, I would be scared maybe to be roommates with somebody who came from a country that is very much infected by the virus. This it might be a stigma, but you really want to take care of yourself. So even if I'm a Miss Philippines or a Miss candidate of whatever country, you might be scared to travel because of the scare of the virus.
Yeah, because I one of our executives actually, Tita Julie, she went to the Philippines on April the 19th, right? Not February 19th. And all her flights have been canceled. Philippine Airlines is closed for international flights. Is it still the same?
From what I understand, yes. Actually, I cannot quote me on that because I am not very familiar with the international flights, because I have a lot of friends that are actually cabin crews from PAL and they still fly. But there's
Okay.
very limited flights that come in and out of the Philippines.
Well, they canceled her flight, and the only way is for her to fly in a different airline, which she has to pay an extra $3,000 because PAL is still canceled. Their flights from Manila to Toronto is still canceled. PAL is Philippine Airlines to all the viewers out there. So, like, that's what's saddening me. Um, so let's talk about first, like, your journey into your field, right? Um, how did it start?
In my field of fashion or
Yes.
pageantry. Okay.
Let's talk
Um,
about fashions first.
okay, all right. So when I was graduate, so I told you already that I actually studied in De La Salle University from DLSU or from La Salle here in the Philippines.
Because you
La Salle,
talked about your corporate job. What was your corporate job?
I'm a facilities manager.
Okay. So what did you graduate? What degree?
Yeah, so I graduated from De La Salle University. I have a degree in civil engineering. So I'm an engineer by
Wow.
profession. Yeah, that's what I finished in college. And then after that, I actually went into full-time career in engineering. So I did that for about 9 years. But when I was graduating from La Salle, I actually had a lot of friends from the College of St. Benilde, which is like a sister school of La Salle. So when I had a lot of friends from there, a lot of my friends are actually from the fashion group, from
Mm-hmm.
who finished fashion design. So basically, what happens is that I'm straight out of college. I'm actually, out of work because I am not a student. I'm not working. So I started volunteering for fashion shows. I started volunteering for these friends, to come with them, to join them in fashion shows. And I think I have a very strong personality, and it really worked for them because every time in the backstage, I'm very, I wouldn't say bossy, but I'm very much in command. Like I'm able to direct the content or the models, like models line up or wear this, don't do this, da 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 da. So a lot of my friends were actually a little did I know that all of these friends of mine from the fashion group became popular in the Philippines. So I started tagging along with them and participating in Fashion Week as a friend or as a backstage friend or whatever. And then, so I've been very much involved. So my being active in the fashion industry came in very early. I know a lot of people. I've been active in a lot of things. So that a couple of years down the road in 2015, when I decided to go into fashion, when I came back to the Philippines, I started, talking again to these friends of mine, and they were all helping me out. So I was living in Hong Kong. That's when I decided that I wanted to become a fashion designer because I was 30 years old that time. And I told myself that if I'm not going to try it now, I'm not gonna try it when I'm 40. So I might as well try it at 30 years old. So that if things doesn't go as planned or if things fall apart, I still have my resume in my corporate career and I can go back to that. Because I'm very lucky. I think I'm very hardworking. That's I think a trait that I have. So when I was 20 years old until I was 30, I actually climbed up the corporate ladder. So when I left my corporate job in Hong Kong, I was already a senior manager for the business line that I'm in. And in the
Yeah.
Philippines, the business line that I was in, which is facilities management, it's still a new concept or an idea in the Philippines. So I'm how do I say it? I'm a talent that's they're after, right? So it's not gonna be very hard for me to go back to corporate. But you know what? I'm the type of person that I'm a go-getter. If I have a goal, I will achieve it. So I went back to the Philippines and I enrolled myself in fashion school. So at this time I was self-supporting. I was paying for my tuition fee, paying for my fabrics and for my machines and everything because I earned a bit of money in Hong Kong. I was able to save. So I
Yeah.
started that's what I used to start my business up. I was very lucky because in 2015 Pia Wurtzbach won Miss Universe, and when she came back to the Philippines, she started wearing my garments because we're very very good friends. And as a matter of fact, last month, month of March, Pia is on the cover of Mega Magazine, the best fashion magazine in the Philippines, and she was wearing my creation. So she's
Congratulations to that.
thank you. She's been a big supporter of mine, and when she was Miss Universe, she started wearing me. So that's the time that people came to me and had their garments made because they like what Pia was wearing,
Mhm.
and that was a really big help. And after that, so she came back, like January for her homecoming. By the month of March, I already started my business. Like I registered my business, I registered everything. And then after that, I didn't turn back. I told myself that I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna push for it. So I started my business line. Now I'm focusing on a lot of formal wear, and I'm actually gaining a lot of momentum in the wedding industry. So I
That's
have a lot.
good
Yes,
because
because
wedding is where you make money. It's the
yes,
wedding.
and the Filipinos love weddings.
Mm.
So they have a lot of things. They have bridesmaids, maid of honors, flower girls, where they have a lot of clothes made for these people. So I'm very lucky because I'm in a country where we actually value this because we're majority of us are Catholic, or we really want to go and wed in the church. So we do all of these things. So that's basically what my career has been, and it's been a very interesting story. A lot of people are telling me that I'm an inspiration because it's not very easy to leave your comfortable job where you actually get salary every month and then going to the unknown. I actually went to
Yeah.
the unknown. Like
Oh,
I don't even know if I'm gonna be successful or anything, right? But I don't know. I have that grit. I think I already parang they always tell me that malakas ang loob ko. I have that gut to
yes.
try things. And I'm not afraid to fall, or I'm not afraid to fail. So I think that really worked for my benefit.
Well, I can tell, and let me tell all the viewers out there. I met Bessie 2 years ago during the Manhattan Fashion Week,
Yes,
and
with
it was
Delton.
yes, it was a conjoined project with the New York Couture Fashion Week. And aside from me having my girls being part of the Fashion Week, I was also doing the media work for New York Couture Fashion Week. That's how I met you. And I said, I have to interview you, but he was so busy because obviously the Manhattan Fashion Week, they had a lot of like models because they also do modeling school. But I've seen your designs and I actually want to ask you like your designs, like your themes. Let's start off with like what you have, the lines of fashions that you have.
Right. When I present my collections, mostly of my collections, a lot of people say that my collections are very tailored. I think that's one thing that I was able to sort of perfect of the last few years. So when you ask me to make you a suit or ask me to make you a dress or a gown, it's really tailored. So that's, I think, something that I perfected, and that's what I've been presenting in a lot of my shows, because I wanted to be known as a designer that's very clean and tailored. That's what I usually do. On top of that, I do a lot of gowns, because that's what sells in the Philippines, right?
Yes.
A lot of people go to the events and they really want to wear a nice gown, or like, a sparkly gown. So I also do a lot of those. But I also think that I've been very good in making wedding gowns, and that's something that I try to learn, because the craft of making a wedding gown, it's, when a lot of people ask us why are wedding gowns very expensive, especially here in the Philippines, because
Mm.
wedding gowns are very tedious to make. It takes us a lot of months to finish it. When you do the base gown, and then you do the embroidery, you do the beadworks and all of that stuff, and it
And
takes time.
handmade too.
It's handmade.
Handmade beading.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the fact that you have to play the vision of the bride and what
Exactly.
she wanted for the wedding.
Right. It's not
So,
just me. It's a collaborative effort between me and the bride. So, it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of time and learning to be able to make that. And I think that what I've been doing the last few years, and now I'm very confident with what I present. I think that whatever I present in a show is already something that people like. Like my last fashion show last November in the Grand Hyatt here in the Philippines, it was well received. Like I got, I think the best compliment that I got was from Ino Soto, who's a very senior designer, and I
yes.
respect him a lot. And he told me that it was a very good collection. It's very clean. It's very cohesive. And my heart just melted, because that's Ino Soto, right?
But you've done a lot of active wear as well. I've seen it in New York.
Yes, yes.
And I want one of those. The active wear. It was like, I think it was leatherized, and I'm like, Bessie should make one for me when he comes here for our national pageant in August, because
Of
I
course,
still
why not?
haven't forgotten that. It was so nice. And
Thank
like
you
I'm
so
like, and the little kids were wearing it too. I'm like, wow. I said, I no wonder why my Miss Teen Canada Globe that year, Marlene Long, wanted to be in your show so bad,
much.
because she's like, I'm a big fan of Bessie Bessana, and I'm like,
Thank
and when I
you.
saw the show, I'm like, nice, you know.
Well, Miss Mias, I've never been to Canada, so it might be a good opportunity. I've been around the world. I've done a show in Sweden. I've done a show in Vienna, in New York, but I've never been to Canada, except for the airport of Vancouver for a
Ah,
layover, which I
well,
don't think it
Toronto,
counts, right?
well, Toronto's very different, and because of the fact that you are a couture designer, so a lot of people are asking, what is the difference between a couture and an actual like a designer like Sherry Hill? So Sherry Hill and these kind of designers, their gowns are actually more of catalog based. Like,
Yes.
where, you go to their store and they have numerous exact same gowns from size
Yeah.
0 to size 18, 20.
Yes.
But a
Correct.
couture designer, basically,
Oh,
it's specially made for just that, for
yes.
that
Exactly.
body type, costume made, basically. And that's why it's so expensive.
Yes. But
But
Miss Mias, I have a lot of weddings, or like I have a lot of brides from Europe, the Filipinos that are based in Europe, and they
mhm,
always tell me that for the price that they pay for the European gowns, and which is basically the same as what my gown cost, they
mhm.
get more,
Yeah, of
because
course.
when you buy something in Europe that's off the rack, it's basically you don't have a choice, right? That's it.
Mm,
You just alter to your size. But here they can request if they want a low back or they want a plunging neckline. So
yes.
they really love it. Like I have already two brides that I've had in Vienna, Austria, and they love their gowns. They kept on recommending me to their other friends there.
No, that's the reason why during pageants, international pageants, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm very straight up. European designers, and when the girls wear the gowns, it's like that's where they did not make top 15. It's the gowns. It is so boring. I don't know. It's like they're so delayed from the actual fashion of South America and Asia, especially the Philippines.
Yeah.
So, and that's why a lot of the pageant girls from Europe are having their gowns made in the Philippines because
Um,
of,
did you know, Miss Mias, that the last Miss Universe from Europe, which is Miss France in 2016, the one who won here in the Philippines, her gown is actually not from Europe. Her gown
yes,
was actually made in Vietnam.
yeah. Because again, if they base it from European designers, she would have not been Miss Universe. Because it's not just about the beautiful face. I mean, she has the prettiest face from all the girls, and I knew she was gonna win. But if she didn't wear that gown, because we all know the gown makes the big decision factor of who they want to be a queen, right? So let's talk about your pageant involvement because that's also a big journey. So tell us about you being a founding member of Aces and Queens. Aces and Queens is one of the biggest um, pageant camps in the Philippines. And some people in Canada and North America might not know about that. So maybe you want to explain it
Yeah.
because they're just starting to learn about that, right? So,
All right. So for my pageant journey, I actually started also straight out of college. So one of my friends from the university told me that she wanna participate in Binibini Pilipinas. And being a fan, she approached me and she told me that, to help her out. So literally we took a camera, took her photo, have it printed, submitted to Binibini. And then Binibini is the Miss Philippines here in the Philippines.
yeah.
And she got in. I was so surprised. Like, of course I love her because she's my friend and she's pretty. But out of 100 and plus of applicants, they only get 24 at the time,
Yes.
2005. And she made it to the top 24. And I was like, oh my gosh, she made it to the top 24. So it was a very big achievement. I watched Binibining Pilipinas 2005. And from that experience, I met a lot of people. I actually met everybody that I know right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
met people, namely sila Mama J, sila Jonas Gafford, Mama Ruth, si Arnold Mercado, and Tito Nad Bronze. And I became very good friends with them. So, down the line, I was trying it out. I was trying to get girl because I came from LaSalle, so a lot of the girls from LaSalle are very beautiful and they're well educated, so they're well spoken as well. So I tried to field them in small pageants and here and there. But in 2008, I realized that I wanted to do it bigger. So I actually joined their group, but it was not yet called Aces and Queens. And then there were two of us that was added in the group, me and Albert Corniawan, who's actually a makeup artist. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, when we joined the group, their small group, we decided to rename the group. So basically, the group then was formed and it was named Aces and Queens. And the Aces stands for advisors, connoisseurs, experts, and stylists, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Queen stands for the Queens, right? So it's a plaything. Like it was nothing. We didn't really plan it to become big. But eventually, so we've been winning Binibini Pilipinas. The same year we actually won 2008 when the pageant group was started. We actually won Binibini Pilipinas in first runner-up. And then eventually that girl in first runner-up position was elevated to Miss World. So the contestants for Miss World and Miss Universe are both from Aces and Queens. And then
Okay.
the following year and then the following year, we kept on winning. And in 2010, that started I would say the best years of pageant industry through Venus Ra. So Venus Ra made it to the top 5 of Miss Universe and ended as fourth runner-up. And she
She was
ended
an
the long
Aces
run.
girl, right? She was an Aces
She is.
girl.
She
Yes.
is.
Okay.
So it was we were very instrumental in Venus's career, primarily because she actually went to Manila. So Venus is actually from the Bicol province, from Camarines Sur. She came to Manila because she was applying to become a flight attendant.
Okay.
But somebody convinced her to meet us, to have dinner with us, just to try the pageant industry. She came to us. She said that, okay, this is what I'm gonna do here in Manila. I'm gonna apply for, I think, she was applying for Emirates, I think. So
Okay.
she ditched the application because she wanted to meet up with us. But she was very honest with us that she didn't have money. um Her hair was not really nice, her skin was really not nice. So we actually invested time, money, and effort with Venus because we saw the potential.
Yeah, because there was a big difference when I saw her picture competing for Miss Philippines Earth and
Yes.
Binibining Pilipinas. It's like night and day. I'm sorry, Venus.
To the
I'm one of
girls.
your fans, and I'm a you're like a sister in Christ for me. But I just see it as like, yeah, there's a big difference. And but was the Aces did Aces handle her for Miss Philippines Earth or no?
No.
Okay.
So we met her the year after she actually went to Miss Philippines Earth. So when she did Bini, we all know the history of Venus Ra, right? So I think that
Yes.
started our glory. So our strategy was to find the next girl to be able to continue what Venus has started. And that was in the
Hmm.
persona of Shamsi Supsu.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people appreciated Shamsi because she's a totally different person from Venus, right? She's
Hmm.
both. I mean, both of them are actually very studious, but Shamsi came from UP. She didn't even join any pageants at all before joining Bini. She was really like the zero girl. Like she didn't have any background in pageantry. But the team, Aces and Queens, was able to transform her to the beauty queen that she really needed to be. And that was very eye-opening to a lot of people that we are not just good with girls who starts from pageants, but we're actually good also with the girls that started from nothing. So it really heightened the interest of the Filipino or the pageant enthusiasts or the pageant girls to join Aces and Queens. And the following year, we had Janine Tugunon who actually shifted from one smaller camp to Aces and Queens. And then the year after, we found somebody in the persona of Ariela Arida, was actually very short for pageant standards because she's
She
only
was an
5.
Aces or
She
um okay, because I thought she was from another camp, but yeah, okay. So yeah, you could tell, you could definitely tell a girl who came from Aces and who came from, I'll say it, KF, like, but like I'm sure people would like to know, like, how does it work? How do you join a pageant camp? Like, does it cost money? Because a lot of the Canadian girls who really want to do well internationally want to experience or win, especially the biggest crown here in Canada is Miss Universe Canada. Um, how does it work?
So what happens is that here in the Philippines, since we are very much a pageant country,
Because I
um,
know you guys do it for volunteer, right?
yeah,
Volunteer.
we actually do it for free, and most of the time, we actually even shell out money because we help out girls that doesn't have the resources like Venus Rock, right?
Yeah.
And we pay for venues like a studio or a photo shoot. These cost money, right? So we actually
Yes.
even shell out a bit of our money to be able to help the girls. So for you to be able to join the pageant camp, usually before, in the pre time of of Aces and Queens, most of the girls are actually recommended or scouted. Like
Okay.
a girl that we saw from an event or a fashion show or from school or whatever. They really come from all different. Like, Shamsi was a neighbor of one of the previous Aces and Queens. So her mom came up to the house of the neighbor and then said, "Oh, my daughter Shamsi is very pretty and she's very smart. She can try Aces and Queens." So there's different ways, but most of them are actually scouted to join Aces and Queens. So it was a
Okay.
very elite group. It's not as if you can just walk up to us and apply. It's really like that. But eventually, when we started winning these international pageants and placing, there was a surge of interest. So we started doing a lot of interviews or like open casting. So it's like just any fashion show. If you are
Mhm.
interested in a pageant girl, you come to the screening, and then I'm before I was the one who was facilitating all of these applications, and my gosh, the number of applicants even reaches up to like 200. And then out of the
Oh,
200, and with that 200, we only get around 20 to 30 because we can only do so much. We don't want to overpromise these girls that we'll be able to help you, and we're not being able to help them. If we say that we're gonna help you, we are gonna help you, and we do it for free. So every Sunday we will devote our time, our effort to do our trainings. We have catwalk, we have Q&A, we have personality development, we have makeup, and all of these things are very essential to become a beauty queen. So all of
and
these.
one thing I could say is that I know for a fact anything from ACES because I take care of the Miss Philippines that goes to Miss Globe. They don't come, they're not like the Latinas where they have makeup artists coming with them. the girl is really trained to do everything, so that when she competes, she has to do her own makeup, her own hair. Because Beanie is very different. They don't accompany the girls to their international competitions like how we do it here in
Yes.
Canada.
Because in a lot of other pageants like Miss World and the Miss Universe and actually even Miss International, they actually don't allow chaperones. So
Yes.
only the girls that are backstage. And you have the option if you want to have the makeup done by the team of the organization, or you want your makeup done by yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the competitive girls actually do it themselves. Why? Because those makeup artists you only meet on the day of the pageant, right?
Yeah.
And you why will you entrust your face with somebody you just met? And at the end of the day, it's a beauty pageant. People can say that they want somebody who speaks well and da 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 da, but at the end of the day, it's a beauty pageant. Your beauty must be above everything else, right?
That's what people
So
need to understand.
exactly, that's my perspective. Like, you know, we can always have the people or the girls that are really good speakers and has a good presentation skills. But for me, a beauty queen is always somebody with a beautiful face,
Yeah,
right? And
because the
if you want to
main
have a
job
beautiful,
of the
yeah,
pageant queen is
exactly,
when they enter the room, they have to have that presence. So
exactly,
that factor is about the beauty. It's not
exactly.
about the personality and the intelligence. And there's a
And you
big
know,
difference.
Mia, I'll add something to that. And I've experienced this because I have friends that are actually Miss Universe and Miss World, right? So Miss
Yes.
Universe and Miss World. So I'm speaking about Pia and Megan, right? When they are sent to an assignment abroad, like they have to attend this contest or they have to do charity work or whatnot, there's nobody with them. It's basically the organization. So like a chaperone, and the chaperone's job is to actually make the schedule, and
Mm-hmm.
then so nobody styles you, nobody makes do your makeup, nobody does your hair. So you have to understand yourself because you will be forced to do it at some point. If you are if you are serious to become Miss Universe, you have to know how to put makeup because you cannot go out of in the public looking like you just came out of bed, right? Because you are Miss Universe. You have to present yourself and you have to present the organization well. And same with Miss World. They do a lot of charity work. And in charity works, you're not expected to have a glam team,
Yeah.
right? So you're expected to do your makeup. May it be a day makeup or an evening makeup because a Miss World does a lot of charity functions. Like, they go to balls and events to raise money and they have to look beautiful because when you are I always hear this from my friends that you put a politician and a beauty queen on a stage and both of them talk about advocacy and donation. Well, it's most probable that a lot of people will donate with the beauty queen rather than the
Yes.
politician, right? So they
Yes.
have to be beautiful. They have to be presentable. So you have to do your own makeup.
No, that's important because it's like, it's a, even it's Miss World and they say it's a beauty with a purpose. Julia will never crown an ugly girl.
Yeah,
They have
agree.
to, but the difference between Miss World and Miss Universe is that Miss World, they're looking for more of the, like, the girl next door, like princess looking. And Miss Universe is more of like the magnum girl, like the top model magnum girl. But now it's changing.
Yeah,
I mean, because now I ING basically made a difference on what they want now compared to the Donald Trump era, right?
right.
So,
Agree.
so talking about that, I would like to ask you what was your part, because you mentioned you prepared Ann Collis, which is the first Filipino to win the Miss Globe 2015 here in Canada. What actual part did you play?
Okay. So Anne was when I met Anne Collis, the first thing that struck with me of her is her face because Anne has a very beautiful face. As a matter of fact, right now she's an actress here in the Philippines. So she's
Yes,
starring in a movie in the iWant, which is an online app like very much like Netflix of the Philippines. So
yes,
Anne has a very beautiful face. But when she was crowned in Binibini Pilipinas as Binibini Pilipinas Tourism, we knew for a fact that she's not gonna compete. So she's just there. She's a queen, but she will never compete. And
yeah,
then, if I'm not mistaken, she was told that she's gonna go to a contest a month before she actually flew.
Yeah, because the president of the Miss Globe wanted to really have a Filipina representative.
Yes.
And so that's how I connected the Beanie,
Yeah.
courtesy of Jeunesse
Yes.
and
Miss Globe,
Petrie.
right?
Yes.
So what happened is that Anne was always this like relaxed, she was not competing, she was not thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, somebody will tell you, okay, you're gonna leave in 1 month. So the pressure got on her, and that time, I know a lot of people doesn't know this, but Pia was living with me at that time. And they're both queens of Miss of Binibini. So Anne already called Pia like, "Oh my gosh, Pia, I'm competing for a pageant and they won't even tell me what the pageant is. The only thing that Madame told her is that you're gonna go in a very, very cold country." That's the only clue that she gave. So, me being Bessie, I started, trying to find what the pageant is. And then I found out that there's this pageant, which is Miss Globe, where there's no Miss Philippines yet. And it's gonna be held in Canada, which is a cold country. So I told Anne, you're going to Canada. So after that, Anne could be very overwhelmed with a lot of information. So we actually wrote down everything for her. Okay, on Monday you're gonna do your nails. On Tuesday you're gonna do your Q&A. On Wednesday, so literally we actually activated our small team, to enable her to be able to get ready for Miss Globe. And she was very thankful that after she actually won, she came in prepared. Even if she only planned or prepared for a month, she actually felt ready when she actually was supposed to leave for Canada. So I think that was my participation, and we jump started everything for her. Well, actually,
So
it was
who
me.
styled
Yeah.
her, by the way? Who styled her?
I'm not really sure on the styling, but I think it was a collaboration between Tonlao and somebody else. That's the
Okay.
stylist. But the thing kasi with that time in Binibini, Madame Stella was very touchy in terms of making the girls wear something, right? So even if the costume was actually open to a lot of designers, the evening gown was very controlled by Madame. And I think that was the issue of Anne Collins, because she really
Mhm.
wanted to wear something that's more Filipino, but Madame was giving her something else. So that's something that's
It's called the Beanie rack. The
the cumbia and everything. So
yeah,
it
like
was
the
very sad. It was a
four
struggle.
years ago, like it's like time lapse history of the.
It's a bit sad, but nowadays that has been lifted. We just use
Mm,
Filipino designers.
I know because she had so much luggages, but the clothes were like I said, didn't who was the one who won Miss Supranational?
Motia.
Yeah. Didn't she wear that dress? I remember because I was the hosting director. And I was like, I don't think you should be wearing that because it's like, oh, but that's what Beanie gave me. I'm like, can I see? And then she said, like, thank God, like people in my camp had like gave me some other stuff. But
Yeah.
I know when she was traveling with me to the Dominican, to Albania and everything, it was a completely different out like outfits. And they were not from the Binibini
Because she
rack.
because she was already a queen. So she was able to demand more of these things.
Yeah. But not from Binibini though. It was done through your circle. So I just wanted to ask what was the reason why you actually left Aces and Queen?
Okay. So in 2017, so that was the time that after it was very it was very timely because in 2016, Kylie Versosa won Miss International. She's also from Aces and Queens. And I was also very a big part of her journey because when we were living in Hong Kong, she was actually modeling in Hong Kong. And that was the time that I actually asked her to join the pageant. So I did play a big role of her entering the beauty pageant. Then she won Miss International. So I told myself, I already have a Miss Universe, I already have a Miss World, and I already have a Miss International. What's next for what is next for me, right? And then in the early months of 2017, which is January, we held the Miss Universe in the Philippines, right? And I was also part of that. I was part of the organization and the committee that managed the Miss Universe here. So it was a very interesting time because I'm a fan of Miss Universe, and being part of the organization that run the Miss Universe at that time was a very big feat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then right after the pageant finished, it was announced that there was a new owner of Miss World Philippines. It was not Miss Cory Quirino anymore. It was handed over to Arnold Vegafria. And me being a very good friend of Megan, they were looking for somebody to run the pageant because Arnold is the national director, but at the end of the day, he manages a lot of businesses, right? So he
Yes.
needed somebody to be able to focus on the pageant itself, who actually knows the pageants in and out, who knows the people, who know how to top all of these people. So Megan actually put forward my name as one of the possible leaders for this new organization. And when Miss Mias, when I went to the meeting, I thought I was applying for a job, but it was the other way around. They were actually offering me the job, and I was like, wow, I must be good, right? Because they were offering me a job. But I think that's also because how I managed Megan, because I was very hands on with her journey in this world, and everybody in the organization of Miss World actually knows me. As a matter of fact, when Megan was turning over her crown in London in 2014, I was her plus one. So, Julia knows me, Steve Douglas knows me, everybody knows me from the organization. So it was very fitting. She was telling Arnold that it was very fitting for me to be assigned as the general manager of Miss World because I already know them already. So it's a matter of activating it. So that's the reason why I left Aces and Queens because I took on the role of general manager of Miss World Philippines.
So now, and let me tell you, the queens during your era at Miss World Philippines look so good. But
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna be honest, after when you left, it's like, oh no, like big difference, Bessie. Like I swear to God. Sorry. Why did you leave Miss World Philippines?
Yeah. I left Miss World because at that time, at the end of 2018, I actually resigned right after the Miss World Philippines 2018 finished. So I already
Mhm.
finished Miss World Philippines 2017, Miss World Philippines 2018, and Mr. World Philippines 2018. And I'm very proud that as I was able to put forward all of my connections because in the previous time, Miss Cory only had the franchise of Miss World. But during my time with Arnold, we were able to get a lot of other franchises, including Reina Hispano-Americana, Miss Echo International, and these are all because of my networks of the internet from the international pageant scene, right? So these people are very gracious to be able to help me out to connect me to these organizations. So after that, I think one of the reasons as well is I'm very tired because I was running the whole show, right? So I was a bit tired on everything and my business was taking off. Like, I was getting a lot of clients already. And I told myself that I cannot focus on two things. I must only focus on one. And at that time, I chose my business because this is my bread and butter right now. Like, this is something that's me. It's my
Yeah.
brand, it's my name, and I really want to focus on it. And that decision really was a good decision for me at the time because after leaving Miss World and focusing on my business, it really grew. And I'm very thankful that I did that leap. Sometimes I actually miss the idea of doing it. Like I I
It's in
still
your
get a lot
blood.
of
It's in your blood. So
I
don't
know
never say never.
I still get a lot of offers. I cannot say the pageants, but I still get a lot of offers from local and international pageants to join them because my network of pageant people actually within around the world is very huge and very influential. But if and I told myself that if ever I will go back into pageantry, like as a prime mover, as in like somebody who will do a lot of things, I would like to choose a job or a responsibility that will really create a lot of change. And I think that's the only time that I will get back into the pageant industry as a organizer.
Okay, so now let's talk about the pageant chica. Um, who's your favorite delegate at the Miss Universe Philippines?
I've been asked about this so many times, and I actually usually tell the people that ask me about this, two girls. Um, I love all of them. Like all of them are actually are my good friends. But I'm really really close to Pia, primarily because we just had that bond. Even if when she was not winning Bini Bini, we were very very close. When I look at my Instagram way back, there's so many pictures, silly pictures of us doing the most random stuff. And I really consider her as one of my good friends. And that's why it's not only because she became Miss Universe, but because we had that connection. The other person that I always tell people that is my favorite is actually Shamsi. Primarily because Shamsi's age and my age are very close.
Yes.
We were born 2 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Shamsi finished architecture. I finished civil engineering. We kind of understand the same language, and we actually have almost the same job for my first job and for her first job. So we actually like glued together. As a matter of fact, just earlier tonight, before all of this happened, we were messaging. So we're still very close up to this date. We'll constantly, and I'm even the ninong or like the godfather of her firstborn. So we're that
Wow.
close. Yes.
I met Shamsi when she was in Toronto and she did a fashion show for the Miss Philippines Philippine Independence Day Council. So
Yeah.
she's very simple, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And I've met Pia and I've met Catriona. I've done events with them. There was a gala that both of them did for Bantay Bata. And let me tell you, I love both queens, but Pia to me is very genuine. Like you don't feel that she was like a remake or too how can I say that too she's very natural and genuine. Like she's not like, when you're rehearsed, she's not like a rehearsed pageant girl, you know?
Yes.
So
Agree.
that's one thing that I could say, like, that's why I like Pia. I like Catriona because Catriona is like the intimidating factor, but people need to be like, wow, a
Yeah.
queen. But
Agree.
Pia is like the queen that's very approachable.
Agree.
So I know that. And I'm sorry, I hope I didn't offend anyone in the Philippines because I did, like, work with these two girls during the gala or fundraiser for Bantay Bata. And I just wanted to say there's two different things. But I'm going to ask you, with all the contestants right now at Miss Universe Philippines, who are you watching for? And who you
So
think is going to win if there's
yeah.
supposed to be one?
Before the quarantine, I'm really setting my eye on Michelle Gumaba. Primarily because I feel that she has a lot of things to offer for Miss Universe and as a Miss Universe Philippines. I know
Mhm.
her personally, she's actually a good friend. And I
Yeah,
know for a fact that she'll be able to represent us. May it be about body positivity, may it be
yes.
about sports because she's very active in the sports community. So I think she'll be a very good Miss Universe Philippines. I'm also putting my eye on Bella Ismael, who's representing Parañaque City, because I think that she has a lot of offer to offer as well, and I think
She's
it will
very
really help.
pretty. Very
She's very
pretty.
pretty, and I think
Yes.
it's gonna be a help to her that is actually the niece of Margie Moran. You know,
Yes.
she's a Miss Universe, right? And she's a ballerina. She's well spoken, so I think she can also offer a lot of things to the Philippines. And the third girl that I'm also putting my eye on is actually also a friend of mine, is Eliza Malinaw. I've known Eliza in 2015. She was actually
She's
batching.
making waves here in Canada. Let me tell you that.
No, yeah. And I think
Yes.
she has matured from the 5 years experience from doing Binibini in 2015 to now. She's been doing a lot of ramp model and modeling, and she's been in Asia's Next Top Model. And I think all of these experiences contributed to her growth. So right now, there are the three girls that I'm looking out for. But again, the pageants is not still happening. So it could change. Somebody might surprise us at some point, right? So ask me again about, 2 months from now, then I might have a different answer for you.
We forgot Cavite.
Yeah, Beanie
Cavite.
Hackett is also making waves. Like people are talking about her.
You know who I think would say in project process? Biliran. I don't see her winning now, but
Yeah, she
she
could come
has a
back and
beautiful
with
face.
her. Yeah, I agree. I think the only drawback that I have from Billy Ran is her height. But nowadays that might not be as big of
But
an
she
issue.
looks so young. So she needs to mature more because, I mean, she has that innocent look you could still see.
Yes.
But there's some girls there that needs to retire soon. Like really, they need to come off because I'm sorry, being a crown chaser, like will not help you when Like it's not gonna happen when you tried 3 or 4 times and you still haven't won the crown. It's not gonna happen. So I mean, Pia was a different story because Pia had the looks, but some of the girls, again, it's a beauty pageant, right? So, what's your opinion on Beanie Beanie with the current situation with the Beanie Beanie, knowing that they don't have the Miss Universe as the main, like, top title, right? Um, I wanted to see your thoughts on that.
Um, at the end of the day, Binibining Pilipinas is a very established organization. They will, number one, they will never go bankrupt because they have a very rich owner, one of the most richest people in the Philippines,
Arenetas, yes.
Planetas, right?
Yeah.
So it will always be a legacy. And what this is something I learned lately through my international connections. Binibini might not have the world or the universe franchise, but they will always be a legacy. Right now, Binibining Pilipinas is the most stable pageant from at least from the perspective of the international community. It's the most stable pageant. I always talk to the owner of Miss Supranational, the owner of Miss World Brazil. These are my friends, and they always tell me that Stella is Stella regardless of what's gonna happen, they will always revert to her as the dame of beauty pageants, who has
Yes.
done beauty pageants from the 50s to date. Come on, Binibining
Yes.
Pilipinas has been running for close to 60 years now, right? So
Mhm.
he has made it. And they will always be Binibining Pilipinas. It is correct that, the popularity or the interest might have gone down a bit because they don't have the Universe franchise anymore. But there's still Binibining Pilipinas. When you are a Filipino and your daughter is a Binibining Pilipinas, you'll be proud. That's
Of
still there.
course. It's like the alumni. I
Yes.
was a Binibini. It's like the name of it.
I always say that
And
once a Binibini, always a
always a
Binibini.
Binibini, yes. But this is a suggestion because I am very involved with the Miss Globe. I think that the Binibini should change the ranking, have international, supra, and then globe. Because, I mean, intercontinental and then grand. I'm sorry, but I don't like international, and I don't know why they're keeping it. But they should put grand as the lowest one because it didn't give any advantage to the Binibini or the Philippines. What do you think about that?
Um, my
I agree
perspective,
with Supra being the second highest title.
um, I'm not really, and I came from a place where I actually know how they vote for the winners. They don't actually care. There's no in my opinion, okay? There's no hierarchy in the crowns. They only care about the top crown. That's what I
Yes.
know, right?
Yes.
They just
Mhm.
they just vote for who's gonna go to universe and international, and then the other rest they could just pick whoever they want as long as they're in the top six, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it might be announced that Globe might be the first to be announced, but there's no ranking. That's what I know for a fact.
Okay. Yeah, because coming from the organizer, um, they kind of feel because everybody they watch like what's happening on YouTube and on Facebook and how people are saying that yeah, like Globe looks like the lowest crown and just being in defense, like Globe had brought glory to the Philippines when Anne won. So I just hope that they will put a little bit more of importance with the Globe crown in the Philippines.
I
And
think Miss Mias, it also has to do something about the quantity of the contestants. I think that's the problem of Miss Globe. And I'm being transparent here.
yeah,
When you go to Miss Globe, there's only 30 plus of you. Whereas when you go to Miss Intercontinental or to Miss Grand, there's more contestants. I think that's probably how people perceive it. Maybe if Miss
uh-huh,
Globe was able to upscale their contestant to like maybe 70 and maybe have a grander stage like Miss Grand, because let's face it, even if like I'm not also a fan of Miss Grand, but when you look at their stage, it's really
really
beautiful.
good. Yeah,
The
yeah,
presentation is like that. So if Miss Globe is able to put forward a presentation like that, and with the number of contestants like 70, I think they will be able to be more competitive. And then the other advice that I would like to say to Miss Globe is that I don't like the crowds. Like Laren Bautista
it's
came home
a
with a
it's
crown which is a replica of a Miss Universe crown. Come on, like let's change the crown. Let's make it prestigious. Like make a crown that's specifically made for that pageant. If there are actually opinions that I could give about Miss Globe, those are the things.
the main crown itself of the Miss Globe was actually made by Piro Jewelry, jeweler,
That was
big.
nice. The one with the pendant here, that was nice.
But the runner-up crowns, obviously, because it's not as important as the main one. Miss Globe used to be the first and second runner-up had like the same design of the main winner, but because of the situation of wanting to equal with the third and fourth runner-up, that's the reason why now everybody has the same crown. Only the top winner would get that hero crown, which is actually a platinum. It's a platinum medal, so
Yeah.
very.
Uh, Miss Mias, I actually was able to touch the crown because of Anne. So it's a very, very nice crown. My concern would probably be having a supporting crown as a replica of an international pageant crown. So I think
Yeah,
it
no,
is
it's
set well
true.
with a lot of Filipinos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think
true.
that Leren is a very well-loved beauty queen.
And I hope she goes to Miss Universe Philippines next year.
Um,
Um,
I am not sure about that. I think it also has to do something about her age. That might be a hindrance for her.
okay, because how old is she now? I think she's like,
Um, Laren is already 27, if I'm not mistaken.
well, Miss
This September.
Universe age limit is 28, right?
Yes, but when she competes, we might not never know. Maybe she's turning 28 this year, right? And then next
Yeah.
year she's 29. So we still have to look at those realities.
Okay, so now let's talk about like your line. Again, going back to that, and being a philanthropist. So I've seen you made donated some stuff during for COVID-19. You made like I think you made PPEs. I've seen like you were designing it. So tell us about that.
So here in the Philippines, one of the scarcity is actually on PPE, which is the personal protective equipment. So what we did is that we convened. There's a 10 of us, 10 designers that
Mm-hmm.
convened and asked for donations from our clients, from our friends. So they were able to donate money to us for us to be able to produce PPEs. So right now we're producing PPEs, and to date we have already delivered 5,000 PPEs
Well,
to
that's good.
different. Yes, thank you. And I think at this point, we already have like 4.2 million pesos that we've raised to be able to support our cause. So until our money runs out, we will be able to donate PPEs to these hospitals. So that's what my initiative is in terms of the help with the COVID. On top of that, I also have another initiative that I'm partnered with Shamsi. So I have a friend, he owns a company called Serendipity, who does a lot of bags, and then my brand, Bessie Bessana, and then Shamsi's food brand, which is Pedro and Koi. And then what we do is we'll also donate PPEs through a different channel, or I mean through different donations. We also donate PPEs and food to the frontliners. So I'm actually involved in two um, activities, or parang donation drive right now. And
Mm.
actually 8 hours ago, I actually did sort of a live telethon to be able to raise money naman for our school from De La Salle University, for us to be able to raise money for the displaced people who are now living in the cemetery because they cannot live somewhere else. So we're also helping them out. So I'm actually involved in a lot of projects because, I'm a public figure. So my support or my attachment to these projects means a lot to these people. So I'm also able to help them out through that.
So
In
it's
terms
good
of
that Shamsi is still involved with her restaurant business because I thought like she probably would have given that up being the new
uh,
CEO of Miss Universe Philippines.
every time that I talk to Shamsi, I always tell her, "Girl, how are you doing all of these things?" Because number one, you have a food business, which is basically run by the husband, but she has
Uh-huh.
a lot of input about it. Number two, she has her own architectural firm. And then
Wow.
she had Miss Universe Philippines. And on top of that, she's also a celebrity. She endorses, she goes to
Yeah.
TV. And I was like, Shamsi, how are you doing all of these things? There's only 24 hours a day. and you even have two kids.
Is she
I found it
raising her? Is she
amazing.
hands on with her kids or?
Yes, yes.
Oh wow, Shamsi, ikaw na.
The good thing kasi is she lives they actually live with Lloyd's family. So
Yes,
the mom of Lloyd is actually helping out with the kids naman. But being hands-on with your kids kasi I think she still teaches Nyla how to count, how to read. So because she's very academic driven,
yes,
very academic driven. So she's very hands-on with the academics of her kids.
yes. So coming back to that, so you did the PPEs. What do you think? How is life in the Philippines right now? Do you think the people, the poor people, do you think that they are being well taken care of by your president, or what? Or is there
Um,
more shortage of things?
I think right now the problem here in the Philippines is the distribution channels because there's money. I don't think that's a question. Duterte has been very vocal that there's 2.7 billion pesos. But how do you cascade the 2.7 billion pesos to these people? I think that is the problem. Because when you involve a lot of people, there will be a lot of red tape, there will be a lot of maybe corruption somewhere down the road. So that's the problem. I think that's the problem with the people. And yeah, even if they reach out, and I've been hearing from my social media that there are people and families that have been getting this 5,000 or 8,000 peso ayuda, or like a grant from the government. But how about the people who are not technically the poorest of the poor but still need the money, right? So it's very tricky. So right now in the Philippines, what's happening is that we help as much as we can, but everything is like daisy. Like, we don't really
Mhm.
know what's happening. So if you can do something, if you can work out something, then you have to work it out. Like me, I also have my own project so I can earn my money, right? Because I also have to pay my rent and all of that stuff. So you have to be creative on how do you earn all of these things because not everybody has the luxury to have savings or spare money. So I hope that the government is able to fulfill their duties to the Filipino people on distributing all of these funds.
And if there's other people who are watching right now from Canada and from other parts of the world who is thinking to donate their money, what advice would you give them? Where should they put their money to? Who should they donate the money to?
I think especially for our Filipinos that are based especially in the countries that are more well off or who can donate. I always tell people that $100 in America is practically nothing. But in the Philippines, $100 is a lot. You can actually feed your family for maybe 14 days, right? So this goes a long way. So if you want to donate, if you're from Canada or if you're from the US, and if you want to donate to our kababayans here in the Philippines, I suggest that you go to the channels that are more direct because the transactions are faster. Like for example, when you go to us to to our group of to Shamsi and my group, when you give the money to us, the frontliners will probably get it in 2 days, right? That's how fast we work because there's no red tape. It's more of like money direct to the frontliner. So if you have a group of people here, or if you have a smaller organization like an NGO that you can work with to be able to reach out to these people, then I think that's a better way to do it.
And talking about that foundation, Bessie, would you be able to actually say the name of the foundation and maybe like a contact number where they
Yes,
can reach or email so that
yes,
our kababayans from all over the world would be able to contact you in regards to
of
this
course.
cause?
So the first initiative that I have is the Fashion for Frontliners. You can actually find us on Instagram. It's called at Fashion for Frontliners. And then the other one, which is the one I'm working with Shamsi, is Kalinga Niwan. So you can also donate there. If you want to be more involved in the food distribution, then that's the place that you can actually donate. Again, it's Kalinga Niwan. If you cannot find it on social media, you can actually PM me on my social media. I am reachable through my Instagram or through my Facebook, which is Bessie Bessana. Madalas naman ako sumagot. I'm easy to answer because I'm very, my phone is like my heartbeat. So I'll be able to answer that. So you can contact me and I can reach you. I can connect you to the right organization.
Thank you so much about that. And again, but I just want to ask you right now, which is more that has more of a need? The frontliners, like medical staff, like or like which like including PPEs and masks and gloves, or food for the poor? What?
I wouldn't say that there's mas importante or more important. I think both are important. It's a matter of where you want to put your funds in.
Yeah. Okay. Because I don't see. Like I again, I feel so proud being a Pinay because of the fact that compared to other countries, even USA, like where they don't have bodies of dead people on the streets, you know, and it again, the government of the Philippines has contained it so well that it didn't go into that kind of like a worse situation where like in Ecuador or in US they're facing right now. So again, like Duterte is doing a good job in regards to that. And again, but people do need help, especially the poor. I've seen it. And I know that some people are not getting even like the food that were promised to them, like food packages and everything like that on time. So like again, you stating about the the channels or where to donate is actually very important because a lot of kababayans internationally are really um, wanting to help, as well as a lot of like non-Filipinos even.
Yeah.
Um,
If you want to help more on the less privileged, I could also connect you to the initiative of Lasal, which is the Kada One, meaning for every 1,000 pesos, we can feed a family good for 1 week. And 1,000 pesos is nothing, right? For
yes.
people from the US or from Canada. So if you need to donate, I have a lot of friends from the US who actually sends their money to me through Remitly, so I can get it directly to my video account, and then I give it to the Lasallian Foundation.
Oh, that's great because like it's an easy access for you to receive their funds, right?
It's
Even
more
Michelle has
online.
even Michelle has the 200 peso challenge. I've
Yes.
seen it like yeah. So a lot of things, a lot of humanitarian people doing a lot of great things. Now the final question is, what are we to expect about you in your future,
Well, number
your
one,
future
right
projects?
right after this quarantine, I hope to be able to start or jumpstart my collection again because I was supposed to present a collection this week with
Mhm.
with the show here in the Philippines, but because of the situation, we are not able to push through with the fashion show. So hopefully by October, I actually have two fashion shows lined up. I have a bridal fashion show and a regular collection fashion show. So I'm hoping that by the time I will be able to present my collection. So I'm very excited to share that because when I make collections, it's really close to my heart. I really take a lot of time and effort and I really put my heart and soul to the project. So I'm hoping that by the time in October, you'll be able to see that. And hopefully at some point, I'll be able to go to Canada to be able to showcase my collection there. I've been to New York,
August
I've been
for
to
the
the
Miss
Europe.
Canada Globe.
Yes, I would love to be
Yes,
part of it.
and also the Toronto Couture Fashion Week,
I love
which
that.
we would like for you to be one of our models.
You will be my key to be able to enter Toronto.
Of course, you're my kababayan. Obviously, that I can make that happen, and I'm happy to do that because honestly, I'm proud. I'm a proud Canadian, but in this world, there's always going to be racism, and um, like being a minority, um, running a Canadian pageant firm, a lot of people have not been really nice to me. So the best thing that I can do is show more about my culture, my background to the people, and tell what Filipino people are. And that we are very creative, we're very genuine, and we're very nice people.
Agree.
So again, thank you so much, Bessie,
Thank
for
you, Miss Kian.
spending the time.
It was fun to talk to you.
Me too. Thank you so much for spending the time in um, uh, giving me your insights and showing us about you. Even though I'm technically challenged with Zoom, it took me quite some time to get figure out. And I just want to say again, I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy,
Same to you.
and we will see you soon here in Canada in August.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you again. And do you have any message to all our kababayans out here in Canada, USA, and the rest of the world?
To all our kababayans that are abroad, number one, take care of yourself. Always wear your mask, clean your hands for you not to be able to attract COVID. And I hope that everybody's safe and in due time, sana magkita-kita tayo at magkasama-sama tayong ulit.
Yes, the Toronto Couture Fashion Week, all the Canadians out there, we will have Bessie Bessana as one of our featured designers for the actual gala show. So, which is the final night of that week. Again, thank you so much,
Forward to it.
Bessie.
Thank you
Maraming
so much.
salamat.
So
Say
much.
hi to Anne. Give my hugs and my kisses to her. My pasaway queen, but I love her. And to Tito Norman,
Yes.
Norman
I will agree.
Tino, and even to Janess,
Yes, I will.
our lawyer of Binibining Pilipinas, Janess, and to Madame, and to Tito Jonas. He doesn't like it when I call him Tito. But
Me too.
it's a respect though, but I mean, Mama Jonas. Yeah, Mama J. Again, thank you. More power to you. And again, I'll see you in August.
Bye.
Bye.